Welcome to Up to the Minute. It is Thursday, October 29th. We're glad to have you with us. I'm Todd Duplantis, and for the next half hour or so, we've got your HCC news and information, some special guests. We'll get to those in a moment. But first, let's check in with Brittany Pacheco, and she is at her home studio. Brittany, we've got a couple of Halloween-themed shows for the next couple of days.
Yeah, good morning, Todd. Yes, we do. Hence the darker lipstick. It's just a preview for what's going to happen later this morning with Janet May and the virtual coffee breaks. It is Halloween themed, so if you're interested in that, be sure to tune in this morning at 11 a.m. with the virtual coffee break with Janet May and Todd Duplantis and myself. But before we get into it with Up to the Minute, I do want to remind everyone just to take a quick moment to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, head over to our YouTube channel to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to find out the latest uploads from us. And last but not least, to our audience, we do need your help. We need your help growing our audience, but more importantly, just sharing this information out to everyone who may not be following us. How you can help is simply by clicking that share button at the bottom of this podcast, so it'll pop up on your personal news feed, and it's as simple as that. So Todd, I'm very excited for this morning's show.
That's right. We've got a great lineup, Brittany. Stick around. We'll check in with you later on. But right now, we've got our first guest that we want to introduce, Dr. Dirk van Tuerenhout. And you are the curator for anthropology at the Houston Museum of Natural Sciences. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Yes, sir, I am. I work at the Houston Museum of Natural Science.
Well, we're glad to have you with us. We're going to be talking about Dia de los Muertos coming up. So if you would stick around, we'll be back with you shortly. First, we want to meet Dr. Erica Stevens. She's an English instructor here at HCC, works at HCC Northeast College, but she's also the co-chair of the Bedicheck Orman Auction. Good morning, Dr. Stevens.
Good morning. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing great. Now, the Bedicheck Orman virtual auction is open to all HCC employees. That's coming up on November the 6th. Why don't you tell us, first off, a lot of folks are familiar with it, but maybe you can tell us how long it's been around and what the purpose of the auction is for.
Yes, so the auction will be fully virtual this year, as you said, on November 6th at 7 p.m. It has a long history at HCC and is a time-honored tradition. It started with Wendell Bedicheck back in the 80s, actually, and we're coming up on the 40th anniversary. So as we're anticipating that, we are doing a nod to the 1980s this year. Every year there's a theme. And typically this happens in person. There's food, there's drink, but we have a great lineup this year virtually with the help of HCCTV, the help of the HCC Foundation, and of course, our Bedicheck Orman committee that works hard every year to put this event together. And it's for a great cause. We raise money with the auction for professional development opportunities for our faculty, particularly our adjunct and part-time faculty.
Well, I know I was with you guys, been in a couple of the meetings, and we talked about the 80s theme, which is pretty cool if you ask me about it, because I didn't grow up in the 80s, but I was in full swing in the 80s, lived all the way through them. Glad I survived them, by the way. But that was back a lot of fun. So it's going to be very retro for a lot of folks. And I had a chance to work with the chancellor when he was recording his message for the auction. And he's got a lot of 80s themes sprinkled throughout his message. So I'll give you that preview. But most importantly, for those who want to attend this event, do they need to register ahead of time? Is there a cost for attending it?
There is no cost for attending. As you said at the beginning, it is open to all HCC employees, that's faculty and staff. There is a register link that we would encourage people to sign up for. Again, it's free to attend, and once you register, you'll get all the information about how to join the auction itself and to bid on items, which will also be done virtually. So the register link, we have a tiny URL for it. It's tinyurl.com/Bedicheck-Orman20.
And we'll have the link in the social media post for the show. You'll also have a way of virtually bidding on some of the items. Tell us about that.
Yes, so we are working with our third-party vendor, thanks to the HCC Foundation. It's called HandBid. It's an app that you can get on your phone once you register, or even visit the website to register. There will be information about how to download that app and how to use that app. You'll also be able to start viewing some of the items on November 3rd, which is a couple days before the Friday event. Those will be the silent auction items, and you'll be able to start bidding on November 3rd.
And can you give us an idea of some of the items that people might see in the auction and silent auction, maybe a preview of some of them?
Yes, so the silent auction will be a lot more of our physical, tangible items, such like custom baskets prepared by different HCC departments. I've looked at the English department one, which is my department. There's a lot of fun items in there, a lot of 80s themes, a lot of DVDs and movies. There's also a basket from the Adjunct Academy, because that is who this event benefits mainly, is our adjunct faculty. So the Adjunct Academy has put together a really cool basket, a big Yeti cooler filled with a bunch of goodies. And then the live auction is when some of our most exciting and our most highly sought after items will go live. Things like lunch dinners with the chancellor and vice chancellors and presidents of the different colleges.
Now, you mentioned the foundation. How do they play a role in all of this? Because I know you're working with them for this event.
Yes, so they support us to provide, well, this year, they've allowed us to use their hand bid app. And because of the gala, the foundation gala that was unable to take place this year, we've received a lot of generous support through some of the items that were supposed to be for that gala. So a lot of the donations for that gala have been transferred over to the Bedicheck Orman Foundation and auction, which is great because, again, that really throws the support behind some of our faculty that really need the funds for continuing professional development.
Right. And I understand there's a grant available, the Bedicheck Orman grant. Who is it for, and how does that work, and how can one apply?
So you can apply online. It's a rolling submission. If you search for Bedicheck Orman, there is going to be a link to apply. You can be awarded up to $500. And it's there to assist professional development for our faculty, things like attending conferences. Even this year, a lot of conferences have gone virtual, but there's still registration fees and things like that. Workshops they can attend virtually, and membership in professional organizations are all things that can be funded by the Bedicheck Orman grant. And this is really important because it doesn't just support our faculty, it ends up supporting HCC students by having their faculty remain engaged in their fields.
So I want to go back to the 80s theme, and I'm going to ask you a question here, and it's just off the top of your head, your favorite movie from the 80s and your favorite song from the 80s. What's it going to be?
Okay, so movie, believe it or not, I just recently saw the inspiration for our entire theme. Our logo is a riff on Back to the Future. Yeah. And I was like, I guess I should watch that if I'm the co-chair of this event.
Never seen Back to the Future?
Not seen it.
You know, there's 3 of them out there.
I know. I have to get to
progressively worse.
I've heard.
So I'm going to chime in real quick because I was actually the one.
This was coming.
Shush. I didn't design the actual logo, but I designed the layout, the flyer with the electric, going on. So that's a direct, take obviously from the DeLorean taking off. So I'm a little taken aback that you hadn't seen Back to the Future. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, I was born in the 80s.
Well, so was I, but
We'll give you a break there. But do you have a favorite song from the decade?
Oh, anything David Bowie.
Anything David Bowie. Very good choice. Very good choice. Brittany, we're going to throw you out there. What's your favorite song and movie from the 80s?
Oh, movie. There's a lot. I would probably say The Goonies.
Goonies. All right. Yeah.
The Goonies. But I love Depeche Mode. I've seen them several times. Wow. And so Enjoy the Silence is probably going to be like one of my favorites. If not, Personal Jesus, of course.
Okay. That was the 90s.
I know, but still, I mean, I'm just saying, but they started in the 80s. Okay, you want me to go back all the way to the 80s? Come back to me later. Let's continue our interviews.
We'll give you time to think about it. Okay, so I guess I'm going to go with, I've got a couple of favorite movies from the 80s, but I guess if I got to pick one, I'm going to go with RoboCop. It was shot here in Houston.
Wow.
Iconic of the 80s. And music-wise, I think you got to go with something like Def Leppard or Duran Duran. You got to go with one of those because that was their heyday, you know, back in the 80s. Some people may argue with that, but that was their heyday. So 80s theme for the event. It happens a week from this Friday. We'll have the link to go register. Erica, we want to thank you for being here on the show today.
I want to thank you for having me. It was great to talk with you.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Good luck on the event, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we're moving on to Dr. Dirk. Dr. Dirk, do you have a favorite movie from the 80s or a favorite song that you'd like to throw out there?
I like science fiction and time travel. So there's a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, Time Cop, I think was from the 80s.
Yeah.
So he did a lot of Van Damme in his days. So
he's a good. What about a good? Yeah. Are you a big fan of the music from the 80s?
Not really. Not necessarily my gig. No. Sorry.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, I want to move on to talk about our, it's Thursday. We have a Family Fun Virtual Thursday. We talk with museums in Houston and around the country about things they're offering online. And because we've got Halloween coming up, we wanted to talk about Dia de los Muertos. And you guys at the Houston Museum of Natural Science have some things going on in celebration of the event, which starts Sunday, November 1st. Now, I guess there's a misconception that Dia de los Muertos is the Mexican version of Halloween, but that's not true at all.
Not really, no. This is a tradition that goes back to pre-contact, pre-European days. This is actually a celebration instead of being ghoulish, although it may appear to be. It is a celebration of life, including those who are physically no longer with us, but in your mind and your heart, they're still with you, and you celebrate their memory. And then during the 2 days, you celebrating with food. You're also celebrating with a lot of music, noise to make sure they're up and awake and come join you. And then eventually go back to the other side.
Now, do you actually, because I've heard you would actually go to the graves of the loved ones for this celebration. Is that part of the culture? And then does that happen across parts of Europe and carried here to the United States?
I think it happens mostly. This is a combination or a celebration where you combine indigenous traditions from Mexico with Catholicism that came over, of course, with the Spaniards. Yep. But yes, indeed, people go to the gravesites, spend an enormous amount of time beautifying it, using marigold flowers, for example. But also in the case, if you lost a child, which is, of course, heart-wrenching, you bring toys, things that were special and close to the child. And so you remember them that way, and you bring them back to your side ever so briefly.
Now, I'm going to a number of restaurants recently, and I can think of Aranda's, Taquerias Aranda's, which is one of my favorites. I go by there all the time. They have a traditional altar set up as you walk into their restaurant in the entryway. Maybe you can tell us about some of the items that are traditional on the altars and the purpose of those.
Well, for starters, you will see in most of these occasions and altars, you will see photographs of the deceased family members that you want to commemorate. But then there will be lots and lots of food, tamales, pan de muerto, bread of the dead, if you want. There are sugar skulls, which I don't think you're supposed to eat, but a little boy or girl might snatch one and eat them and then, have to slap on the hand. There is also incense being burned. Of course, you don't eat that either, but so it is a myriad. It's almost like a symphony of different things that appeal to the senses. So food, images, smells, things like that.
And I've got something here in my notes, alebrije. What exactly is that?
Alebrije refers back to an art form that started in the middle 1960s and middle of the 20th century in Oaxaca, which is a state in Mexico, in the southern part on the Pacific side. They make incredibly beautiful wooden carvings of mythological animals. So it's a mix of all kinds of creatures you've seen before, and they are sometimes used in the celebrations as well. And it has gone from Oaxaca to Mexico City to Houston. You'll find them all over the place now.
You'd sent us some images of people. They look like giant stick people. Maybe you can tell us how this is brought into the celebration and what they signify.
So I don't know if we're looking at them now or not.
We'll be showing, we're
Okay.
going to be showing them
That's
during
fine.
the broadcast.
So that particular image is from Oaxaca. This is in the location of just in front of the Santo Domingo Cathedral, and people celebrate the probably walking around on stilts is actually a custom that came over from Europe. I'm originally from Belgium, and people like to walk on stilts as well, even though we're fairly tall already, but for some reason we want to be higher. So this is a mix where you have the two cultures walking around dressed up and then walking through the crowd on these stilts is very impressive.
Now, I want to talk about the Museum of Natural Science because we were talking before the broadcast started. You guys have been open for a little while now, and if you are a fan of the museum and you haven't been in a while, now would be a good time to go because of the social distancing. You've got a lot of space and really some time to see the exhibits.
Indeed, we have our permanent halls are up and running. For those who like Fabergé, it's a permanent exhibit now in the Mineral Hall, but we also have a traveling show, which is Body Worlds. This has been at the museum before, but it's been 12 years, and this is a new version of it. It's called Cycle of Life. We have our Paleo Hall, ever so popular with the 5-year-old boys and girls who know every single dinosaur that I don't, but they do. We have an Energy Hall. We have the Hall of the Americas. We have ancient Egyptians who do not walk around, but it's sort of related to the Day of the Dead if you want. We also have a show which is called Death by Natural Causes. So I'm going to let you think about what that might be.
Now that is fascinating because I've seen some pictures from that and read about it. I haven't had a chance to see it in person yet, but from what I understand, you guys have had that there for a while, and it was supposed to be a traveling exhibit, and it's kind of extended its sake because it's so popular.
Indeed, this was put together at the museum itself. It is an overview of all the things that people over the history of mankind have done, engaged in, and that might kill you. For example, radioactive coffee mugs. Glow in the dark is cool, but you actually get radioactivity ingested, and so it might kill you. If you shoot at a cactus too many times, it might keel over, and guess what? It might kill you, etc., etc. Yes.
Now, I want to ask you about your online offerings. I imagine when the museum had to close its doors temporarily because of COVID, your online offerings, like many of the museums around the country, really took off. Tell us about some of those and really ones that you really learned from that were very popular.
One of the things that happened was we always offer in the summer camps, and actually it did start, but at one point, one of the people that attended got sick, so we immediately shut it down. And so we switched over, and that took a lot of work on the part of the education department from actual attending in person to virtual. So our educational outreach, and that is one of our main goals, to be an educational center like HCC is education, that's our gig. We went to online presence, and we do mail out packages to people who do homeschool, and now teachers in real regular face-to-face schools with classrooms where we send out material related to the different halls, for example, shells, birds, natural history in general. People can now pick up on that. There's of course also the gift shop where people can buy all kinds of things and support your museum. There are lectures sometimes that are put on, there are movies that are being slowly brought online. So it's a little bit of everything, but it is for everybody an ongoing learning experience.
Dr. Dirk van Tuerenhout, thank you for joining us here on the show this morning, and stay safe out there.
Thank you. You all too. Good to see you. Thank you very much.
All
Bye-bye.
right. We are going to move on to Brittany with our HCC news and announcements. First up, Brittany, we've got virtual coffee break that's happening after this show. And we want to invite everybody to be there because Janet May is going to have a couple of special guests.
Yeah, those special guests, Todd, are you and me.
Yeah.
So yes, we will be the guests with Janet May, who's our Chief Human Resource Officer, to have a cup of coffee, have a chat with our coworkers and what have you. So if you're interested in participating in that this morning, it's happening at 11 a.m. And just be sure to check your emails to register and simply search coffee breaks in your email search engine.
Yeah, I've got a few surprises. I may wind up changing a few things. Let's see if I can get a few of them. There, can you see that?
Nope, not really.
Nope. Okay, how about this? Can you see that?
There you go.
Yeah, see that? And there's this one. And there, so who knows? They've got these new programs on Zoom where you can actually change your look with various things. So who knows how I may show up today.
You're silly.
See how that goes. All right. Northwest Library Discovery Days. They're celebrating Halloween, and they've got an event happening tomorrow from 3 to 3:30, Brittany, involving the Monster Mash.
You do the mash. You call the Monster Mash. Sorry.
Okay, there you go.
That's my childhood right there. So yes, Monster Mash illustration and drawing will help participants learn how to actually draw monsters during this online edition. In case you guys were wondering what monsters look like, this is the event to attend. It's happening this Friday from 3 to 3:30. Registration is required, as Todd may or may not have mentioned before, sorry. But go to library.hccs.edu/discovery days and discover how to draw a monster.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Monster Mash for you. Yep. All right. So there you go. Brittany reliving her childhood memories for you there.
Thank you.
All right. Rec Sports fun fall events. Tuesdays and Thursdays, they've got Zumba and boot camp. Fridays, Brittany, you know what they have.
Yes, it's Twerk Fitness with Todd Duplantis.
That's actually the V sisters. But Twerk Out with Twerk Fitness. You can reach all of their events. We'll go ahead and put a link in the social media post so you can get in. They've got lots of stuff going on through Rec Sports. So if you want to keep fit virtually, join them, whether you're doing Zumba or twerking out. You can do all that. All right, filmmaking series. Albert Cervantes is going to be joining them. And I don't know if you know Albert, Brittany, but I met him years ago. He's a Facebook friend of mine. He's also the director of the Houston Film Commission. That's happening next Wednesday.
That is very, very cool. No, I did not know that you knew Alfred Cervantes. So this is a free event. It's a free virtual workshop that's happening next Wednesday, November 4th from noon to 2 p.m. Registration is required. So if you're interested in participating in this free workshop, email michael.cohn@hccs.edu. And Todd, we have a very important event that's going to be happening again next Wednesday at 2 p.m. in regard to substance use.
That's right. HCC Northwest Counseling Department presents Lori Feister. She's the clinical director on the Counsel and Recovery. And this is going to be a WebEx event. It's 2 p.m. Wednesday, November the 4th, free and open to the public. You can register to attend the event. Once again, it is free. Very important. So take a look in the social media post and you can find the link for that. Also, if you're looking for some money to pay for school, well, the Counseling Office and Office of Institutional Equity has an essay contest, Brittany, where you can pick up $250 if you're the winner.
Yeah, they're actually going to award 2 scholarships. So to the tune of $250 a piece. Hey, free money's free money. All you have to do, students, is write a 500-word essay or any artwork that basically shows your love for art, prose, and your fellow man in this trying time. So it's a great opportunity, once again, for you to be awarded a scholarship to help pay for your tuition. The only requirement, you have to at least have a 2.0 GPA. So if you want to participate in this, you can email hcc.healthyrelationships@hccs.edu for more information. I believe the deadline is going to be coming up soon on November 9th.
Yes. So keep that in mind. HCC's financial aid department, they are meeting with people in person, but you have to schedule it ahead of time. You can't just show up at a campus. Very easy to do, though. No walk-ins. Keep that in mind, folks. But you can go online to book an appointment with the financial aid department. Go to hccs.edu/financial contact. So we'll have that information in the social media post for the show as well. Virtual open house sessions are extended until late January, Brittany.
They are. So this is great because a lot of people obviously who are interested in going to HCC want to check it out ahead of time and just find out what the enrollment process is like, how to connect with students. This is open to parents as well. So whether you are starting, continuing, or relaunching your educational journey, you don't have to figure it out alone. As I said, enrollment help is available with virtual open houses to connect with new students, parents, and school counselors. So check out the site to register for a session for help with your application, financial aid, orientation, which is required, and advising. So go to hccs.edu/informationsessions to check out when our next session is going to be held. And as Todd said at the top of this, it's extended until January. So great time. Utilize those sessions, everyone.
Well, we have some other things available virtually as well, because we can't have them in person. We've got a student virtual lobby. If you've got questions, you can visit the virtual lobby. Simply go to our homepage. You can't miss it. You can get a Zoom, a callback, or an email. We've also got virtual college transfer fairs happening, Brittany. We usually have those on certain campuses. You'll go to the transfer fair and you'll see tables from like Texas A&M, University of Houston, all the branches. UT will be there. And this year we can't do it in person, so we're doing it virtually.
Yeah, exactly, Todd. And, going to those transfer fairs on campus, obviously when it was safe to do so, helped me transfer to my four-year institution, which was the University of Houston Clear Lake. And I was able to make that change or make that transfer from HCC to UHCL very easily. And it was all because of the transfer fair. So for everyone, obviously, we're going to do this virtually to, be safe. I encourage you to check out what these colleges have to offer and what they have to say. So go to the website, hccs.edu/transferfair, in order to check out the dates and times when these colleges will be holding a session. It's just to your benefit.
Yeah, and one thing, Brittany, the colleges will be doing the presentations live. So you will get a chance to interact with them, ask questions. But if you can't make it, they will archive it to where you can watch it online afterwards. But if you have questions you'd like answered, you can join them live and ask the college or university representatives to answer your questions. Another thing that's available for our students right now, we have an online services toolkit. Answering your questions from textbooks to tutoring to technology. You can visit that at hccs.edu/online-toolkit. And I want to go back up, Brittany, and talk about some of these COVID testing sites, because COVID cases have been on the rise. And I know there are a lot of people worried about COVID. We have free testing available on our campuses.
We do. And actually, I'm glad we're talking about this because some of the sites have changed. We no longer have two sites at our Southeast location. We just have one. So we'll break it down. So bear with me. So the East Side campus, which is in the Southeast region, is still operating, but no more Felix Fraga. What we do have that's added is our North Forest campus. So that's located at 6010 Little York. Now, both of these sites are operating Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. You do not need an appointment. Now, the other sites that do require an appointment are the same. However, they have new days and times. So the Northeast campus and South campus are still operating with the required appointments. They're operating Monday through Saturday, but from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. They've extended it later into the evening. So that's great. You do, again, need an appointment. So there's a website there for you all to go and make your appointment. I highly encourage you all to do so. That way you just avoid any issues when you're coming to either one of those locations. So we have the graphics showing now. We'll be sure to schedule it on our social media. That way you all have access to this information pretty much always.
Yeah, one thing, what do you got going on over there?
Oh, Luna is whining to basically encourage everyone to go ahead and just, do what you're supposed to do, get tested, make sure you have your appointment. Yeah, that's what she's saying. And she's getting some loves right now.
Good for her. Hey, Brittany, that about wraps up today's show, but tomorrow we got a big show for you. Dr. Jimmy Adams, he's going to be here with some poetry. He's always here every Friday. And we've got a ghost hunter that'll be on the show who I used to work with years ago. His name is Pete Haviland, and he's going to be joining us on the show, Brittany. He sent me some pictures, some strange things he's been working on over the years. And we've also got a couple of clips from a TV series pilot that he and I did back in, I want to say it was like 2003. So
not the 80s
show.
Not the 80s. Just kidding. By the way, one of my favorite songs from the 80s is Living on a Prayer, John Bon Jovi. Just saying, good. That's a good one. No, I'm looking forward to tomorrow's show. Of course, always seeing Dr. Adams, and then your ghost hunting friend, because I've got some experiences I'd like to talk with him about. So
all right.
It's gonna be
We're
exciting.
going to do that on the show tomorrow. Hey, thank you for joining us on the show. Brittany and I will be back tomorrow. Make sure you tune in at 11 a.m. We'll be joining Janet May on her virtual Coffee Talk series. Thanks for being here and Up to the Minute. We'll see you live tomorrow morning, 10 a.m.